picking up where I left off, talking about multi-system lenses, Shirley also had a stable marriage throughout her young adulthood into later life. And so these different factors um, had different influences on her. Sexism um, had, you know, for her, she was able to use it as motivation to advance further. Um, but she was definitely faced throughout her young adult life and the entire time in the education system and working in um, leadership positions such as principal, superintendent, research policy groups, um, with a constant reminder that she didn't belong there. She was affected by affirmative action, um, by them having requirements for females, and then her filling those roles. Um, Her marriage provided her support um, and financial consistency and a parent for her child, and her younger family, or her family from when she was young, really provided her with the value system that then she paired with what she was exposed to in higher education, and also kind of honing in on her interests and personal values while she was in higher education. So the other theory that theoretical perspective that I included to shed light on this stage of development was radical feminism. Shirley has some definite strong beliefs about male hierarchy in the workplace. One, that it definitely exists, and two, that she is, going to smash it down. And that was kind of a really personal motivating factor for her. She described that after she had finished her master's, her and her girlfriend were just like, kind of congratulating themselves. And she heard a group of the male students in her class saying that they were coming back that fall to pursue their doctorate. And she said she felt so wicked in her thought, but that she thought to herself that she never wanted them to be her boss. So she thought, I'm going to go back and get my doctorate as well, and ended up doing just that. There was also another side to being a beneficiary of the affirmative action programs that are supposed to help create equity. But often Shirley talked about this feeling that it wasn't really her work that got her there. It was that they had to fill the female slot. And so she didn't necessarily identify that as an issue, but I could hear it in her voice and how she described her kind of competency in those roles as, there were better candidates, but I, fulfilled this role. So I thought that was a interesting component um, that of that stage in her life, um, and how she pursued her roles in society and in her family. Um, I definitely found limitations in Erikson's theory. One, that he describes it as a fixed linear path. Shirley was more focused on work and intimacy versus isolation stage, and I thought that it was defined as such a traditional concept of child and family and marriage really kind of left her out of that. Yet she did develop very supportive relationships and interpersonal skills with her friends. Um, and so I think that definitely emerging adulthood would have been relatable to her stages of development as far as self-focus, the broad range of possibilities, exploring her identity, and I think that stage would have definitely fit into her lifespan. I also think that Erickson describes intimate relationships in a very status quo, gender normative way, and I also think that that saying that family isn't always blood. Um, People can develop intimate relationship skills in a much more communal way. They can find them in um, friendships, through religion and faith, um, and depending on how they view their perspective and their involvement in um, interpersonal relationships. So I thought that kind of limited a way of um, defining one's growth in that stage. And these are the articles that I used, and I also included Roger's book in that. Thank you.